Hi everyone, welcome back to Bank of North Dakota. I am Stacy with Ask Stacy and Amanda. We put out videos every week on different topics. And if you've got any questions or comments, make sure to leave them down below and we will ask them, or you can send us a direct message as well. This week we are at Valley City State University with Stephanie Rolsema. She is the Director of Residence Life here at the university, and we are going to talk today about the pros and cons of living on and off campus. So I guess my first question for you, Stephanie, I'm always interested to hear the answers in this because it varies sometimes with different colleges. Is there a requirement, first of all, for students to have to live on campus at any certain time in their college career here?
Sure. So all of our first year students are required to live on campus for a full year or 2 semesters. So if they start in the spring, they also live on in the next fall. So, So 1 full year our first year students live on campus, and then after that they have some decisions to make.
Yeah. So when you are looking at the pros of living on campus, let's say you're first year student, or maybe you've decided to live on campus second year, what have you, what are some of the pros for students making that choice and living on campus?
Sure. So I think some of the pros are really the proximity to classes, social things, whether that's events put on by our activities board, athletic events, music events, those kinds of things. Proximity and just the fact that there are people around is really a benefit. And also being close to academics. We know that living on campus keeps students more engaged, so that's a positive. And then of course, when you live on campus, your internet's provided, your laundry services are provided, all of those things. So there's not a bunch of extra bills to think about. It's kind of a one-stop shop, if you will.
Very nice. Get all that extra stuff in your brain that you think about maybe when you're living off campus. You don't have to worry about
that when you're on campus.
Yeah. So with that comes maybe sometimes some cons, or maybe students think maybe it's not so great to live on campus. What are some cons that you've heard from students of living on campus?
Sure. So I think some students think that living off campus will give them more freedom and independence, and that can be something that they're looking for. But I think the university and living in the residence halls really provide students with a good transitional space from living at home to really living on their own when they're done with college, by providing kind of a structured freedom and independence so that they can be successful while they're here.
Very nice. It's definitely can be kind of tricky when you're trying to figure out is it best for me to live on campus or off? And I like that structured piece there for you too, because you're right, it does provide some structure around that, but still some freedom. So when you're looking at living off campus, if a student decides to live off campus, can you tell me what are maybe some of the advantages for students to live off campus?
I think some of the advantages that students like we kind of talked about earlier, is that independence and freedom. We also don't allow pets on campus, so I guess if you're really, really looking forward to a pet, that would be one of the other advantages to living off campus.
Sure. Yeah. So we've kind of already touched base on it. If you live off campus, what do you think are the biggest disadvantages to being off campus rather than here right on campus?
Yeah, so I think when students choose to live off campus, even just that commute to campus can make it a little bit more difficult to stay engaged, whether that's attending events, attending class, being engaged socially with other students. That commute can just make it that much more difficult. You have to put in that little bit of extra effort in order to get to campus and be engaged. Those extra bills that we talked about that you don't think about right away. Paying for your own internet, your utilities, paying for your laundry, and those kinds of things. And locking yourself into a year-long lease isn't always, a positive experience for all students. If you end up having to pick up the slack for a roommate that isn't paying their part of the rent and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of things to consider when making that decision.
For sure, yeah. And we were talking earlier, I lived off campus my last couple of years, and it is something you really have to think about to add in that extra time for that commute and then the extra walking. And if you've got to schedule different appointments on campus, it does add in a lot of time throughout your day where you didn't have to think about it if you were on campus.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for visiting with us. Is there anything else that you would like to, any other information you'd like to know before we close the chat?
I would really just encourage students to think really thoroughly through that decision as they're making it. We know that students that live on campus are more engaged academically and socially and really end up having greater success when they're here. So I would really just encourage you to make sure that you're thinking through all of the pieces as you make that decision so that you can be successful while you're a student.
Absolutely. Very well said. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie,
Thank you
for having us
me
today. Yes, absolutely. And again, if anybody has questions, leave them in the comments and we will get back to you. If you have got ideas or want any certain topic covered in a future video, send us a direct message or leave us a message below and we'll get those covered as well. Otherwise, everyone have a fantastic day and we will see you next time. Bye.